Hello, this is Dr. Dave Maslach talking about Reciprocity.com, the sharing economy proofreading platform that I am trying to build. In this particular video, I really wanted to talk to you about how to use MS Word, so Microsoft Word, track changes, and how to use it effectively when you're working with collaborators. I think there's going to be a couple of things I want to show you, just sort of a basic overview of how it works, and then after that, maybe provide a couple of suggestions. Towards the end, I'm going to provide a couple of suggestions of things that I've just learned along the way. So I'm a professor of innovation, strategy, and entrepreneurship at a large state institution, and we do a lot of collaboration as a professor. We do a tremendous amount of collaboration. I'm constantly working with other people, and we use this tool on a regular basis, so I am pretty well aware with this. So Microsoft Word is probably the workhorse of, or one of the workhorse tools that we use in academia. There is some other tools that one can use. You can look at, there's some older videos where I'd go into these different tools and stuff like that, but definitely MS Word. I've come very familiar with this. Even if you use LaTeX often, it's easier to sort of use MS Word and then sort of input the things after the fact. So I want to show you into LaTeX. I want to show you how to use MS Word track changes. So I'm going to start off with just a really basic document here. I'm going to, write, hello world, right? So you don't know that, that's what you start off in your first program that you ever write, computer program you ever write. So I just want to put this down on how to actually use track changes. So if you go here, I'm using the Mac version. It's slightly different in the Windows version, but basically the same thing if you look at what I'm doing here. So you want to go to the review tag right up here, the review panel up here, and that's the easiest way to get to it. If you don't have that, you can go to show the one of the views. I think it's one of the toolbars. You can put up the toolbars up there at the top. I believe that's what it is, as well as I don't know. But I'm not off the top of my head. I can't remember what button you push to get that to show, to get this bar right here. You see this entire bar to show if it doesn't appear, but just fiddle around with one of these ones. I don't know if it's either the toolbar or markup. I can't remember, whatever it is. Just fiddle around. You'll find it very, very quickly. You just go to view and click on that. I don't want to waste time doing that. So if you go here and you go to track changes, it'll say right here under review, track changes. That's what you want. So this is when you're working with a collaborator, right? So you're writing something up and you want to send it off to somebody else and you want to find out, so what is track changes? It records in the background all of the changes that another person does right. So if you write something and you want to find out what they wrote, or you want to make sure that there's sort of clarification in the changes that they make, then by all means use track changes. It works quite well for that. So you just hit track changes, right? And instead of hello world, I'm going to put hi world, right? So automatically it switches and tells you who wrote. Generally, so there's a setting I turned off, so it doesn't show you who it is, but it says default user right now. So that's me, and I deleted hello world over here, right? It shows you what it is. And I just put in hi world, so it replaces that. So there's a couple of different views that you can go into, which is kind of handy if you're working along the way. So let's say you want to revert back. So you go here, you go to this view, and you want to revert back to the original. It'll show the original when you click on the original. Then you could also show you can also show the original showing markup, right? So that's going to show you that was crossed out. And you can go to the final, which is nice too. And you can just set it at that at this moment, and you can write along, and you can put in, I don't know, maybe I'll write hello world, goodbye world. I'll write that, right? Goodbye world. So you can write that, and right now it shows in final that this is what it looks like. But if you go to the final showing markup, so this is the final document, and it shows the markup, which is crossed out. It'll show up that this is in red, meaning that this is the stuff that I wrote on there. So you can put as many collaborators as you can. You know, at most I probably have ever used is 4 collaborators on this, and they can sort of each have a punch at the bag, and they can go through and make their own corrections, and it's going to show up who wrote what on the side. And that's pretty handy, right, to have that. So what you could do after you have everybody has written everything up there, you can go into accept changes, and you can accept the ones that you can do. So okay, then I'm going to go up here, and I can accept the changes as I go through and accept them. And you just click accept, and now it's going to be in the main document. It's going to take out those track changes, and then I can reject here. You can also go to accept changes in the entire document, so accept all. Sometimes I'll do that if, you know, I've made sure everything is correct and it's just kind of minor changes and stuff like that. That'll just go accept all. But, you know, you can reject that, right? You can also step through the changes up here, and that will show you stepping through the changes as well. So that is the most important things that with using track changes. It's a really useful thing. When I'm doing so a couple of tricks that I sort of learnt along the way. The first one is if you're doing really big content editing changes, if you're doing things that are really, really big and substantial, I probably wouldn't use track changes because it gets really messy very quickly. It just gets, you kind of start losing where you are if it's substantial changes, right? So you're completely rejigging the document. I wouldn't do track changes. I would just send a completely different document. 2 reasons for that: it just gets really messy. And the second reason, the file size starts to grow substantially with MS Word, and I've had things crash before using that. The other thing is, depending on the comments and stuff, there's this comment that you can put up here, and you can put comments. Sometimes it's annoying using that because when you're sort of going through the different and when you're going through the document, you have to click on this, and sometimes it's just easier to write the comments right in here, because then when they accept changes, when somebody goes through and accepts changes, then they could just go reject, and it's a lot quicker than going through and clicking on the comments, which is it's more of an annoyance. I'm not sure why MS Word has done that rather than just going through and accepting. So that's 2 things I really wanted to point out, 2 important things I wanted to point out. So if you found this interesting or useful, make sure you do the old thumbs up. If there's anything else you want to learn about track changes, it's pretty useful. And on reciprocity.com, the sharing economy proofreading platform that I'm trying to build, the E is spelled with a 3. You can insert or you can upload things that are used that use track changes. It's totally fine. What it just won't show currently right now. It's not going to show those track changes. The other person's going to see the track changes once they download the document, and it's going to work just fine. So I just wanted to point that out. But those are the critical things I wanted to sort of highlight, how to use the track changes. It's pretty useful. And those 2 important tricks, if you're doing content editing, if you're doing major editing things, right, you're rejigging everything, I probably wouldn't use track changes. If you're just doing sort of proofreading or small sort of changes and checks for error, then it's totally fine. The other thing is avoid using the comments. It kind of gets annoying over time of when you're sort of accepting them, especially if you have really big documents, right? So that's all I wanted to point out. Have a good day, take care, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye.